So currently I'm engaged in building a cradle to take my tumble dryer rotor, which I've painted black. Now I'm pretty sure the black paint will make it spin faster. I'm joking, okay? Anyway, during the build of this thing and the build of the precursor model which really led to this, of course there's a whole list of people who are quite happy to tell me how wrong I'm doing everything. It won't stand up to a high wind, it won't generate anything, I'm using the wrong bearings, I'm cutting the metal wrong, I shouldn't be doing it with my bare hands, etc, etc, etc. There's just this whole list of people telling me how wrong I'm doing everything. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't bother me in the least. Mostly because I'm cursed with the ability to think for myself and a stubbornness where if I get an idea I try to follow it through. The water off a duck's back as far as I'm concerned. But it does highlight something that happens all the time. We're always told how wrong we're doing something and how we ought to worry about this and worry about that and we ought to do this and do that to protect ourselves from this and that. And it gets to be really quite stressful actually, particularly if it's new to you and you're actually not sure about what it is that you're doing. I mean, this whole thing is put together from scrap shelving, a scrap tumble dryer. There's going to be decisions that you make along the way that aren't possibly going to be the best. But it's not really a question of the best, it's a question of whether it'll do. But today, I went up to take some Christmas presents to my kids, and me and Patty, my wife, were in the car driving, and she mentioned something that had come out of the University of Pennsylvania this week. And I thought it was hilarious because it just tied into exactly what I'm saying with these things. Apparently, in this study, which is done by the Behavioral Psychology Department of Pennsylvania University, where they looked at people's worries and how many of those worries came true, and they reckon that it was 91.4% of people's worries never happened. Oh, that's absolutely hilarious. 91.4% of what people worry about is insignificant. It just is not going to happen. And that I thought was awesome. Because when I bent this metal, people were saying, oh, you'll cut your hands. Oh, I didn't. And of course, 91.4% of the chance of that, just not going to happen. I'm not going to cut my hands. They're just worried about nothing. And that's so often the case. These bearings, the bearings I actually took from a skateboard, if you remember. But this tumble dryer, it had no bearings at all. It actually had something called bushings, and you find bushings more often than you find bearings in things. Bushings are just tubes that slip, so quite often they're made of nylon or PTFE or something called Babbitt metal. These were Babbitt metal bushings. So the tumble dryer didn't have any bearings at all. And I'm told that the state of the bearing with the weight down on it will wear the bearing out quickly. Well, what's quickly? And this thing weighs about 4 or 5 kilograms. When the wind's hitting it, it's hitting it straight on, so not adding any weight, it's adding deflection force in that direction. So if it lasts a year or two, well, I think that's going to be awesome, actually. I'm not expecting it to last the rest of my life or, to be found by people in the year 3020 when they dig it up. It's got to last a year or two, in which case the bearings probably just fine. Worrying about them is probably a waste of time. Just like worrying about so many things. Now, according to this study, the number of people who worry about things actually it's got to do with your outlook on life. It's whether you have a glass is half empty or a glass is half full. If you tend to have a glass is half empty, you tend to worry about everything. If you tend to have a glass is half full, you tend not to worry so much, apparently. And I've been saying that in the last few videos because I've been noticing a lot of worries that people have. Whether it's worries about kids or worries about whether something will work or worries if you're doing the right thing. So often I say in my videos, don't worry, get up, give it a go. Now, like I say, this thing's made from scrap. I'm not expecting it to do great things. I'm not expecting it to last the rest of my life. If it does break because I've chosen the wrong bearings, well, what have I lost? A broken tumble dryer and an afternoon sewing it up. Not a huge amount, really, is it? So if you're going to try stuff because you don't know, then I think you should just go ahead and try stuff. Because you're going to find situations, for sure, when you've wasted your time. In inverted commas, okay? You're going to find situations where you do something and it breaks. But to be honest, the huge amount of learning that went on there is well worth the trouble. All that stuff we did from a chair, it's not been wasted. It's all been learning that has gone forward and helped us develop something new, and it's cost me next to nothing because I've remade all of those things. So the cost in terms of money, nothing at all. The cost in terms of time, a couple of days. What do I worry? So I think it's important to not worry too much about these things that everybody else seems to worry about. Not search for perfection. You're not looking for the perfect bearing that'll do the right job. You've got a pile of scrap. You're searching through it for something that will probably do. And the chances are, apparently, you're probably going to be right. There's about a 9% chance of you being wrong and a 91% chance of you being right. So just get on and do it. Don't listen to people telling you that it's not right because you have done this and you haven't done that and you need to do this and you need to do that. Chances are they're just wrong. They're just worrying about stuff actually that may happen that in fact never happens. And if something does happen in those rare occasions, well, you've had a ton of learning, haven't you? Anyway, I thought I'd mention that Pennsylvania thing because it really did amuse the hell out of me that it tied in so much with what I've been jabbering on about on the channel. The way to do something is to get up and do it. If you're worried about it, then you're probably worried about nothing. Anyway, I thought I'd share those ideas with you. I hope they were of interest, and thank you very much for watching.